What I will say with Vera is, he starts off at a fast pace, and then he maintains that fast pace all the way through. It's a constant pressure style, and that's really what got to Frankie Edgar in the end. Like Edgar was having some success. He was landing shots, although he wasn't particularly hurting Vera, but he was also, able to score takedowns. Again, Vera was busy off his back, though. Straight onto elbows and strikes off his back, constantly attacking. He's a real handful, as is Rob Font. I just feel like Rob Font maybe is a little bit more stationary in his stance, and I feel like that heaviness on the lead leg is going to make him more hittable for Chito Vera. But a really, really interesting matchup that could go either way. And over 3 rounds, I would be less interested about it because I feel like I know both of these fighters better. Like Rob Font's coming off 2 5-round fights, a win and a loss. Garbrandt and Aldo. He's gone 10 rounds with 2 former champions and two of the best guys in the division. Chito Vera has been, his losses is where he's been outpointed. He's been slightly outworked. I mean, his loss to Aldo was over 3 rounds. I feel like if that was maybe 2 rounds longer, that Vera might have come on stronger and taken that victory. Same thing with Song Yadong. That was a fight of the night. I feel like if that fight had gone on, it was not Chito Vera that was deteriorating in the fight. It was not him that was starting to slow down. It's his opponents. And you fight Aldo over 3 rounds, and that's a handful for anybody. Like Aldo over 5 rounds is where you find windows of opportunity, and that's that's not the opportunity that Chito was given. I think Chito over 5 rounds against a lot of the people that he's lost to, John Lineker, and Douglas Silva de Andrade, Davey Grant. There are moments in those fights where you think to yourself, well, if you put an extra 10 minutes on the end of this, it could look very different. I'm excited to see what Vera does with those additional 2 rounds. I don't think it's going to change his approach in the opening 3 rounds. I think he's still going to be just as aggressive. So then you've got Vera walking forward aggressively, trying to use a full Thai boxing skill set, front kicks and switch knees and the like, trying to set up whatever shots he can land. And then Rob Font a little bit lower in his stance, a little bit more boxing base, but good low kicks and good front kicks and knees as well. And, we can't forget what he did to Thomas Almeida as well. Pressured him up against the fence, forced him to circle onto a high kick. There's no doubt that Chito is going to be there ready for Rob Font to hit because he's a pressure fighter. It's Rob Font that's probably going to be under pressure. You're going to have to use his boxing footwork and his head movement to try and keep him safe and try and extend this one into the 4th round. Later on in the fight, I think is where Rob Font can come into play. Those early couple of rounds, he might be able to outpoint Chito Vera, but he might take a lot of damage in the process. There might be unnecessary risks there. And Vera always fights like he's angry. Like he was swearing at Frankie Edgar and stuff, and Frankie's one of the nicest guys in the sport. Like Vera is the bad guy. He plays the bad guy. He doesn't care. He doesn't mind it. He's going to try and get inside the head of Rob Font. He's going to try and trash talk him, try and irritate him. And I don't think he's going to get the bite from Rob Font. I think, again, I'll say it. I'm fascinated by this one because it's one of those fights that's kind of flying under the radar. You've got number 5 against number 8. It's the bantamweight division. There's a lot going on at the top, a lot of drama around the championship. This fight's kind of flying under the radar, and for me, Marlon Vera has been doing good, consistent work. He's just not managed to get a good streak of wins together to put him in position for something, for something like a title fight. Like you look at his record, and his longest win streak is 5 fights. He was 5 fights, and then he signed with Inca, and then he went 1 draw, 1 loss, and 1 win with Inca, and then he got signed to the UFC. And it's 1 loss, 1 win, 1 loss, 3 wins, 2 losses, 5 wins, 1 loss, 1 win, 1 loss, 1 win, and now he's got 2 wins in his record. He needs to start building that streak up. He needs to start looking at guys like Rob Font and thinking a bit more tactically about how he approaches them, because I think his recklessness is making him outpointed over 3 rounds. That might change over 5, of course. He might be a 5-round fighter. There's no doubt he's got great conditioning, same as Rob Font. He's got great conditioning. He's proved it in his last 2 fights. But he can be outpointed. That lead leg is vulnerable for him. Chito's going to be throwing front kicks up the center line. He's going to be trying to catch him with that front kick that he caught Frankie Edgar with. All of those kind of techniques, because of the aggression and the tenacity of Chito Vera, any one of those techniques can be put on the table as a finishing move. For me, Rob Font has got the better hands, but I would say Chito's probably got a more diverse skill set, more willing to throw a diverse skill set at him. Like, if Rob Font can establish his jab early on and not take too much damage on his lead leg, I think he might be able to start pushing Vera around, into the third, fourth round when Vera starts to slow down a bit, perhaps. But this is a really, really tightly contested matchup, and there's a lot to be gained here for Chito Vera, who, of course, is coming off 2 wins. And Rob Font, it's like he's had those opportunities to prove himself in the division, and Jose Aldo was just a step too far for him, at least right now.